Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This video is going to be shorter than the ones I've recently posted, as I'm just going to speed up most of this just to give you guys a general idea of what I'm doing here in each of these videos. We're back to airbrushing here, as you can see. Right now, you can tell that I'm just going through and I'm just kind of tracing everything. The way I'm doing this is I've made these custom one-off pictures that I've pretty much kind of just photoshopped and made myself, and I've got graphite paper behind that, and I'm just going through with a pen and actually just tracing the lines. Here you need to get all the little details and everything to make sure it gets transferred onto your panel. It's just a quick, easy trick to get your image transferred quickly. And now we're on to the airbrushing part here. We're actually got a really light gray, even though it looks pretty dark on this panel. Trust me, there's only like 1 or 2 drops of black in this. And I'm just going through and mapping everything out. Not really focusing on too much of the details at this point right now. As we move along here, I'm just trying to shade in to the darker spots, not really focusing on the lighter spots right now. We'll punch those back out once we move along. And here quickly we're going to see me start talking about how I mix the paint and what paint I use and the process of how I keep it stored and things like that. So thank you guys for watching, and just sit back and enjoy the video. Like I said, it's going to be a short one today. So this is the first layer done. It's just pretty much a mapping out stage, not really anything too detailed or anything. As you guys saw, transferring the image on here just with graphite paper, traced everything pretty much, and then went back in with the really light gray. Even though on a white panel this looks kind of like a medium grayish, it's actually really light. It's not that heavy, so there's a lot of room for adjustments just by using this color. That's the key to doing a lot of this detailed airbrush work. The more layers you put on, the more you can push and pull objects and the shadowing in and out. The more details you can actually put in later on. It just makes it look a lot better. But I am going to stop right here for now. I want to run over this with you guys here. I was just cleaning out my airbrush. I do so every once in a while, especially if I'm using like a white, more white than anything, because white is like a really strong pigment, and it just and the microns with the really small needle, it likes to clog a lot and it spits. So I'll clean my airbrush out really quickly with thinner every once in a while. So I just want to run over this with you guys real quick in case you guys haven't heard me go over this, of how I mix paint, how I do and keep track of everything, and the process that I do it. The paints that I use is House of Color, obviously. Watching this channel, you know that. It's just straight up white, and then I'm using black to tone the white to get the gray shade area. And then I always use like a medium reducer. You can use slow. Fast is too fast, to be honest with you, for an airbrush. Medium dries really well. It's a solvent paint base, so it dries fast by itself. So no need to like use fast reducer or anything like that. I like to be able to walk away from my gun for a little bit, take breaks, come back, and not have to worry about the paint getting settled up inside the airbrush cup. So like I said, I was just cleaning this out, so I just want to run over this with you. I got these little bottles here. I think they're little 2-ounce bottles off Amazon. I bought a big pack of them. I mean, I've got a ton of them, and I buy these because what I'll do is something like this on this portrait. It's going to take multiple different shades of gray and black to get to where I want to go. So this, even though there's not much left in here, this is my starting point. of where I left off from just mapping it out. So I will use this again to start, and then I'll tint it with the black. And I usually go by drops. Like this mixture was mostly white, and then probably I think I had 4 or 5 drops of black in the white, and I didn't fill my airbrush cup. I only filled to like, I mean, it wasn't that much. It was just enough to kick this over. Black is really strong against white, so it doesn't take much to turn it to a gray. And then what I'll do is I'll put this back in my gun from where I left off, and then I will put another probably 2 drops in here, because like I said, since we're already in that gray tone area, it's not going to take very much to change this to a little bit darker. And that's the trick to doing things like portraits, anything that's got a lot of detail that you really want to pull off, a lot of shading and shadowing and details in it. The trick is to not bump your color up. If you're doing like black and white, for instance, obviously, you want to put as many different shades of gray in there, and then once you're pretty much wrapped up with everything, black is just being used to push everything back, such as the eye sockets. Obviously I've got my pictures here for reference wise. I got the black and white below me, and then I've got the colored version that has the more detailed stuff in it. But I always go black and white because it shows you the values really well. So even though it's kind of dark in some areas, hard to read, it really shows you the values. So for instance, if you're doing a different color, or if you're doing these in colors, it shows your lightnesses and your darkness. So like your eye sockets, your nose area, the shading around the skull up here, the hands, it's pretty much going to be a really dark black, not straight black, because black just it's too strong, it wipes everything out. At the very end I might put black in and just kind of clean up my lines a little bit up here to really punch that edge out, to give it that break that it needs in the nose and the eyes and all the little crevices and things like that. That's the very end thing to do. Sometimes I will grab just straight black and kind of just punch out the dark areas at first, but I'll over reduce it. Because if you don't, it's going to be too dark too fast, and then it's hard to go backwards than it is to go forward. So that's why I always tint, and I use these little cups, squirt bottle thingies. They work really well. They handle solvent without melting them. A lot of these plastic cups, for some reason, they're just too thin. They're not made right. And the solvent, after sitting in there, the bottom will actually start eating away from the solvent paint. These have yet to do that to me, so they work really well. I wish I remember what brand they were, but if you look up 2-ounce bottles, plastic bottles on Amazon, I think they come in a pack of like 18 or something like that. So buy those up if you need something to store your paint. It's great for picking up. It's got this twisty nozzle on there. Great for just doing droplets. So yeah, that's just a little bit of rundown on where we're at right now, and then I'm going to bump it up, and I'm just going to keep going and stay true to my black and white, and then use the color just for a reference of what I need and where I need to go. So pretty simple stuff. So we're going to bump it up again and go the extra step.